Talladega Super Speedway lives up to its name. Of all the closed-circuit motorsport facilities in the world where sanctioned auto races are held, it is the fastest. Constructed by the France family 10 years after Daytona International Speedway, Talladega was built slightly longer at 2.66 miles with steeper banking at 33 degrees, which guaranteed record-setting speeds. The pole speed for NASCAR's first race in 1969 was a stunning 199.466 miles per hour, almost 30 miles per hour faster than the Indy cars were then lapping at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Rule changes in 1987 meant Bill Elliott's 212.809 mile per hour lap will likely stand forever as the qualifying record at Talladega and for NASCAR. Talladega is still the fastest track on the schedule as it holds the record for the fastest 500-mile stock car race at 188.354 miles per hour. Mark Martin's winning speed in May of 1997, and also produces some of the most exciting racing door-to-door every year. Talladega puts on 5 separate race events each year as host to the NASCAR Cup Series, Xfinity, and Craftsman Truck Series, including the ARCA Series. But tonight, it's the No Bull Racing Series Alabama 200. It's next on HBR TV.
Till the Alabama sun was breaking over Talladega, boys raised up a whiskey in your glass. Here's to turn it up, slowing down, and cars that go real fast. We were laughing and living and drinking and wishing and thinking as that checkered flag was waving. Sure like to stay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Talladega Super Speedway. I'm Steve Singer with HBR TV, joined in the broadcast booth by Eric Dotson. How we doing, Eric?
I'm doing great, Steve. How about you?
Doing well myself. Looking forward to this one here tonight. 75 laps, 200 miles here at Talladega. Fun way to start off the second round of the playoffs. Bunch of sadists running this league here, bringing everybody to Talladega, and then in 2 weeks, I think we go to Martinsville Speedway. So we like pain and punishment around here, I think.
This is definitely one of my favorite races. If you guys got to watch to the end on this one. This is going to be exciting. 7th place on the last lap can win this one. You never know what's going to happen.
Well, we've seen crazier things happen, certainly, but we're certainly looking forward to it tonight. Practice just about wrapped up here at the Speedway, and then we're going to get into single-car qualifying. I think it's a 10-minute session. We'll verify that. But air temperature, 78 degrees, 87% humidity. Again, we talked about the laps, 75 to complete it. Stage break at the completion of lap 25. 2 sets of tires over the wall. And they do have a full fuel load here tonight. Roughly fuel window, 30 to 33 laps. So should be plenty for stage 1, but plan on some green flag stops during the race. Taking a look at the point standings coming into tonight, of course, it is the start of round 2. Brian McCann fastest, top of the board at 15:19. Zach Millett just shy at 15:08. Then Brian Rose, Brandon Mefford, Neil Quick, Chris Gones, Chris Mefford, Mark Truxell rounding out the top 8. Those are your eligible drivers for this championship as they run coming into tonight. So with that said, we'll go down trackside here, see where everybody's stacking up in practice. Fastest so far, it is the 3 of Brian McCann, to no one's surprise.
Looks like Alan DeFreeze may be practicing some qualifying laps out there by himself.
Good crowd of trucks here tonight. Looks like we're going to take 24 to the green flag here tonight. Interesting to note, top 2 drivers, Brian McCann and Brian Rose, running roughly identical lap times, 51.66 their best. Again, that is all in the draft.
Yeah, this is one track where you can't make any predictions on lap time. I mean, we've seen guys who have not necessarily been even top 10 drivers be the fastest in practice, and it doesn't pan over.
Just about 8 seconds remain in this session. We'll see where these guys are going to lock themselves into the field here in qualifying. Again, it's single car runs, no drafting involved. So let's wait and see who hits the road first in this qualifying session.
Just like any other track, their strategy here, I mean, some people's going to want to stay towards the back and make sure they stay out of trouble if trouble happens, and some guys want to be out front and stay in front of the trouble.
You know, you talk to all these drivers, and every one of them is going to have a different mentality and a different way of doing this. And you're absolutely right. Some are going to be out front, some are going to be out in the back, and really for the same reasons. You know, it's, well, I don't want to be out back with that mess because I might get caught up in somebody else's wreck and this, that, and the other. Well, if you're out front, guys get bored. They're race drivers. They want to go out and they want to run. They want to pass guys, and it's hard to turn that off. So if you're out there running for the lead, okay, yeah, there's not as many trucks out in front of you that you got to worry about, but there's more aggression involved up at the front of the field. So it doesn't mean you're completely protected against mayhem.
Absolutely. I think you'll see the most aggressive driving, I think, from the guys kind of at the tail end of the pack, probably with about 10 to go. I think they'll start trying to make their move.
Green flag in the air for Justin Clapper.
More content, but the guys in the back's going to try to move quicker.
Clapper back to the main straightaway here into the tri-oval. Remember, the start-finish line not where it is at Daytona. It's further down the road after the tri-oval, which certainly makes for some crazy finishes. Clapper finishes up his lap, 57.271 for his first time by. Let's see if lap 2 is any faster. Zach Millett on the racetrack on his second lap. I don't know if Millett had an issue, but doesn't register his first lap. Typically only get that if there's any sort of off-track or incident point added up when it made contact to the wall or was in the grass. I don't know where that would have happened here at Talladega, but back to the line here. Let's see where Millett locks in. P3 for Zach Millett. Meanwhile, Brian McCann, his first lap, 56.09. See if he can improve here the second time by. So tonight's kind of a crapshoot there, Eric. I mean, you got a pick already, and we're going to wait for qualifying to finish. What do you think?
I don't think qualifying's going to impact any pick here. Man, it's so hard. I mean, because to win here, obviously you got to be fast. You got another draft, and you have to have friends. You know, and you got the IROC guys who I think will work together. You got the HBR guys, and then you got teammates throughout. So, I mean, it's hard to pick somebody because anything can happen. I think I'm going to let you pick. That way I can see who you take and strategize.
I'm going Brian Rose.
Brian Rose. I'm going
I feel like I took your pick.
That's a good pick. I mean, Brian does good at the restrictor plates, the Talladega, the Daytonas, and a lot of guys respect him, so he's going to have help out there. Whether it's the HBR guys or if he has to get pushed by somebody else.
Brian McCann still top of the board. Then it's Neil Quick, Chris Goins, Zach Millett, Alan DeFries. Again, just as we had last week, or the previous week, the red numbers in the timing tower indicate your championship drivers. There were 8 of them to be concerned with. Right now, the top 4, all championship contention. So
I'm going to take Chris Goins.
Chris Goins, that's another solid pick.
Yeah, he's been turning it on the last few races, trending in the right direction, and I think he may have something here.
Chris Elliott. Out of 4 into the tri-oval. First lap 56.178, 13th. Has another opportunity to go around. A handful of drivers still yet to make a lap in qualifying. They may opt not to. We see Mark Truxell do that quite a bit. Tries to get into a rhythm, settle in before the green flag drops, or really the chaos kicks off in these races. So he's not taking a lap in qualifying. Matt Kopp, Brian Torsha, Eddie Rose. The 4 of them likely to start out at the back.
And definitely no surprise for Mark Truxell. He's a very conservative driver. He's going to say, hey, I'm going to wait till the end to make my move. But I guarantee you, unless that 5 gets caught up in something, he'll be towards the front at the end of this.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I mean, he does like to start out and back, and like you talked about earlier in the broadcast about making the decision to fight out front, fight out back. Either way, it's a dangerous decision, but you got to live with it one way or the other. But I can guarantee here, if Mark Truxell can get through this without getting caught up in somebody's mess, he's going to be a contender here before it's over. Chris Elliott finishes up here. 13th quick, 56.206, the second lap. A little bit slower than the first, not by a whole lot, but not going to improve his position. Just about everybody's taking the time here. Again, Mark Truxell, Matt Kopp, Brian Torsha, Eddie Rose, all at the back of the field here. Still 3 minutes officially remaining in the session, so they may opt to come out. But in the meantime, we're going to jump out of here, get a break out of the way, and we'll be back with our starting grid after this. Stay with us.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Yes, he did by 2/100ths of a second over Brandon. That S4 guy off turn 4 for the final time sees the checkered flag. It waves. It belongs to the 315. Back at Talladega Super Speedway for the Alabama 200. Take a look at our starting grid on the pole position with a lap time of 56.094 seconds. It's the 3 of Brian McCann. Starting in the second position, the 2 with Quick Esports, it's Neil Quick. Chris Goins will start from the second row in the third position. The number 28 Right Turn Racing entry with Zach Millett, the 315 starting fourth. Alan DeFries, the 71, starts fifth with Brandon Mefford starting P6th. Seventh, Eric Beadle. Noah Rainwater starting 8th with Thunderclap Racing. Brian Rose, P9. Jesse Redding will be 10th. Doug Wysocki starts 11th. 12th goes to Chris Mefford. 13th starter is Chris Elliott with Will Hewitt, the 33 of Outcast Racing, starting 14th. Roger Diebold starts 15th. Drew Prail will roll the number 80 from P16. Joe Tucker starts 17th. 18th goes to Alfie Charon Jr., the number 51. Justin Clapper will start 19th. Carson Conway with Holler Boys Racing, he's back, the number 72. He'll start 20th. Mark Thomas rolls 21st. Mark Truxell out at the back, starting 22nd. Brian Torsha, 23rd. 24th, Matt Kopp. Eddie Rose, shotgun on the field in 25th. It's your starting grid for the Alabama 200, going green this time by, so stay with us and don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss it. Pace car about to pull off, already taking the dip down to the left side of the yellow line. Wait for Barney, the flag man, to wave the green.
Green flag.
Green flag in the air. We're racing at Talladega.
We'll see if anybody decides to switch lanes and then get an opportunity here early on. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. Everybody's pretty much side by side.
Got to get everybody up to speed here. These trucks punch such a big hole in the air. One driver already stepping out of line to go to the back here. A couple drivers doing the same. The Real quick out in front, Zach Millett up to P2. Then it's Noah Rainwater, Brian Rose, Brandon Mefford. Mark Truxell already working his way up through the field. Remember, he started out towards the back.
I was getting ready to say, Mark Truxell's already midway through the field.
It's up 9 spots in just 1 lap and a couple of turns. Brian McCann from the pole has slipped back to P7.
Noah Rainwater can lead that outside line to the front.
Ryan Rose tucks in behind the 05 of Rainwater. Rose has Eric Beadle out the back window. Beadle not too close on the back bumper, just trying to be conservative here early. Again, 75 laps race distance, and we do have that stage coming at the end of lap 25.
Just got to remember the one key here. Don't push the pusher.
Unless you're ready to take responsibility.
Brian Rose pushing Noah really good right now, though.
Well, what we've seen in a couple of these Talladega races, mostly with the trucks, is you kind of use that outside line if you can get everybody formed up. It's, I don't know, I liken it to a Pez dispenser, I guess, and the cars are the candy. But you push the guy from the outside lane just enough to clear the inside, and you can push him into the lead. He drops down, and then the next guy in line on the outside, he gets in queue to do the same. But the problem is you continue to do that, you eventually lose the numbers on the high side, and then you can't do it anymore.
Been sitting here watching Zach Millett. Just really, really good. Tucked in behind that number 2.
Zach's a good pusher. He's not a huge fan of super speedway racing, but he's got a lot of car control, quick hands to make corrections if need be. Just hasn't found a whole lot of luck at these places over the last couple of seasons.
I don't know if Brian Rose may be having problems staying tucked in behind Noah, or maybe his truck's getting hot, but he's been kind of putting that front out a little bit, as you see him do it right now.
Right on board with Brian Rose. And see, he's, like you said, peeking the right side up a little bit, trying to get some air into that thing, but it's awful early here to be already dealing with temperature issues. Only a handful of laps in.
Steady right now.
You see him, he gets real close to the back of the 05, kind of gets into that bubble. Now through the tri-oval, he's changing lanes. He had to lift a little bit there. Was going to get a push into the 05 off center. You don't want to have that happen. Good way to send that truck to the inside lane unplanned.
Yeah, I mean, these two are doing good leading that high side, but they just don't, I don't feel like they match up too well together. Look at Will Hewitt coming and making that 3rd lane already.
Oh, Brian Rose goes in front of the 33. He's like, I'll go with you. Oh, Will Hewitt's in the fence, though. Justin Clapper trying to push. I think that was Clapper. Yes, the 63 gets into the back of Will Hewitt. Going to do a full-on rewind. It's not going to show up otherwise. Good job by the 33 to save it. Watch it again from the blimp. The 63 and the 33, the top side, the purple truck, and then the black and red.
Caution.
Oh, just turned him.
But I'll leave this one on you. If you want to stay, I will stay.
Meanwhile, we do have a caution now. Will Hewitt is involved in this one. So is Mark Truxell. All kinds of action already. Let's take a look at it here, see what happened to put us under our first caution of the evening. Clapper again pushing Will Hewitt. I don't know if we missed something there, but oh man, Carson Conway just comes down and drills the 33. Hewitt gets another piece of the wall, and I think Truxell might have just locked it down. I don't know if he actually caught a piece of the wreck itself. But, man, I don't know what was going on there with Clapper and Will Hewitt.
I'm sure, I mean, I can't speak for Will, but I can't imagine he's happy right now.
No, I mean, Will's been involved in this series in one form or fashion for quite some time, even going back to the Superior Class Auto Racing days. It's only 7 laps in, and to get put into the wall twice by the same guy in effectively 1 lap, 2 different parts of the racetrack, I would be very frustrated myself. Again, I don't know what precipitated it. I don't know if there was some tempers flaring between these two prior to that. First caution, though, this will all but guarantee everybody's going to make it on fuel now for the stage. We were kind of concerned about it. 25 laps to the stage. The fuel window, technically about 30 to 33 laps, so everybody should have been fine, but this erases all questions as far as that's concerned with this caution coming out. Still going to have to worry about a green flag stop in the second half of this race.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see too many people pitting unless they have some damage they need taken care of.
Looks like Truxell does have a little bit of damage on his machine. Right side scuffed up pretty good. Again, I don't know if that was just him trying to get it locked down and stay out of the wreck. Looks like he's trying to fix this the old-fashioned way, though they do have a fast repair if necessary. Gotta wonder, though, where are the race leaders right now? They're on the backstretch, so he's got some time to get it fixed here. I just wonder how much required repairs Truxell has. Apparently not too much, because he's down and away. Hopefully he's got enough pace to stay in the draft.
It didn't look like his truck was too hurt, so.
Right side was scraped up pretty good, but it looks, I'd say, about 90% now.
Good thing about it is, you know, there'll probably only be, 15 laps to go maybe before the stage. So if he is off pace, he may be able to keep from going a lap down and maybe use his fast repair at the stage break.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of his pace, he's not going to go down a lap unless something really crazy happens. There's not enough time really for that to precipitate itself. But Truxell comes in, catches the tail of the field. Pace car lights are still on, so at least one more time by. So there we go. Pace car lights are out, so we are on the 1 to go. We'll get the restart at 10 laps in. Next time by, Neil Quick's going to be the leader. Millett's going to restart to the outside with Brian McCann out his back window. The 83 of Brandon Mefford will be the inside. Then row 3, it's Brian Rose, Noah Rainwater. Row 4, you've got Eric Beadle and Alfie Charon. I just got to break some stones here a little bit. The one-man wrecking ball, Justin Clapper. Again, in fairness, don't know what precipitated that contact between the 63 or the 33. It seemed like there was something going on. Could be dumb luck, but at least that's what it looks like from up here, is someone got a little angry.
That actually puts Zach Millett on the outside now with Brian McCann going to be pushing him.
Field working turns 3 and 4. Snail's pace to get around this giant racetrack at 2.66 miles. Certainly the biggest oval that these guys run. It's about a 2.5 minute pace lap to get around here, and they do it in, well, 52 seconds or better under green flag conditions. Pace car is down. And again, we've got this long tri-oval here before we get to that starter stand.
Green flag.
Clean restart for these guys, at least here at the front of the field. Might have caught some guys sleeping through mid-pack on back. Already a bit of a separation from the top, I'd say 8 or 10 trucks back to the rest of the field. Could have been a variation of they were sleeping, or they weren't quite grouped up the way they should be. Either way, it's allowed these guys up front to get away into their own fast pack.
Or after that caution, they just wanted to settle down some.
Well, it could be. I mean, with less numbers here at the front of the field, these guys can be conservative a little bit. Let things kind of play out. Mark Thomas is kind of all by his lonesome here. He's going to try and draft up to this lead group. I don't know if he's too far back. He's certainly too far in front of Justin Clapper and the rest of that group. He's kind of on his own island here, but I think he might just be close enough to snip this draft.
It looks like he may be getting pulled in just little by little.
Yeah, he's close enough for sure. He's there now. Half a second back. You're definitely going to get a slipstream out of those lead trucks.
Making moves on Eric Beadle now.
Beadle almost seems like he's starting to lose the draft. If I'm Mark Thomas, I'd almost want to tuck in behind the 119, work together with him for a bit till you can get caught up.
Same thing I was thinking.
Checking on Mark Truxell, he's worked his way back into the 18th spot, so certainly some pace still in that number 5 machine.
Alan DeFreeze and Truxell and Hewitt all making it 3 wide on the top lane here.
It's like a Scar reunion in the top lane.
The original Scar guys up top.
You know what? I don't think anybody's surprised either. We've got a lot of laps together. We know how these guys are going to race. A place like Talladega, you need some friends and some guys that you trust and you can work with. I can see no better group than the 71, the 5, and the 33 to be grouped up here on the racetrack. Man, they're already 3 wide in that pack, too.
Hopefully DeFreeze doesn't go out anymore like that. Here at Talladega, that could cause a big chain reaction.
Looks like this group here from, I don't know, 13th or so, 11th, depending on where you are in that lane on back. Though they are all 3 wide, they seem relatively content on doing it. As one truck blinks out there, I think it's the 21 of Jesse Redding. Lost him for about 300 yards. It really hurt that inside line, too. The truck disappeared. There was no draft in between those 2 machines, the 46 and the 80. Sends the 71 out front just a bit, but the 13 of Joe Tucker trying to go up the gut here with no drafting help.
Yeah, I think Truxell and them wanted to move down maybe a lane, and that 13 ruined their plans.
Not ruining much now as he tucks back in behind Mefford, goes to the bottom. Now we're 2 by 2, extreme high line, and then the low lane. 28 of Chris Goins leading this pack.
You know, these guys, if they want to get a shot to get some stage points, I think they got to maybe y'all get together. I mean, they're 6.5 seconds back.
bit of lane changing going on in this group. But meanwhile, out in front, Zach Millett battling for the top spot, getting the run with Brian McCann, Brian Rose, and Alfie Chair on the high side. Down low, it's Neil Quick, Brandon Mefford, Noah Rainwater, Doug Wysocki in the 34. The two trucks that are kind of tailing back there, Mark Thomas and Eric Beadle out of turn 2.
I think Mark Thomas and Eric Beadle just continue riding at the back of this group.
Well, Eric Beadle is more of a dirt racer than anything else. Obviously, Talladega Super Speedway kind of opens up the possibilities for just about anybody. A lot of things can happen to get you out and to win this race. Yes, it does take some talent, as you typically see the same guys out towards the front. But I think Eric's just being smart and conservative here, maybe a little nervous, who knows. Mark Thomas, on the other hand, very experienced iRacer, not just on road courses, but also on the oval side of things. He just might be playing his cards the smart way here, staying tucked back, giving himself enough space between these lead drivers that if something does present itself, he's got time to react and try to stay out of it.
Steve, I love the way you build Eric Beadle up. You talk about how he's dirt and doing great to be there. If I ever come out of retirement, can you say, oh, he's just a broadcaster? it kind of built me up.
A place like Talladega, I wouldn't need to build you up. You run well here anyway.
This is my favorite track on iRacing. Probably because it's the only one I've won at times.
Yeah, right?
It's, I love it. I mean, it's the close racing, anything can change, the drafting, the strategy. I mean, this is awesome racing.
Alfie Charon taking a peek to the outside of Brian Rose. I think it was just a fresh air look is all that was. Back and check on this other group here. Will Hewitt now leads it over Alan DeFries and Mark Truxell. We talked about these guys, the veteran drivers coming in from SCAR from previous seasons. They're still working together, and it's paying off as they get out in front of the second group. They've got everybody lined up single file. That might be by design to try and catch this lead draft.
Yeah, I mean, they got 7 laps to try to get up there and get some stage points.
Stage points paid out for the top 10 finishers within the stage, and we're looking from 11th on back right here as Mark Truxell pulls out for one reason or the next. It might be a fresh air thing as well, trying to keep that engine cooled down, but no drafting partners to speak of. He's going to go back a little bit here. Had some opportunity to tuck in behind Joe Tucker, chose to stay up top, but Justin Clapper's not going to go with him either. He's going to go around the outside. No one is helping the 5. Of all the guys to help, you'd think Mark Truxell would be the one. He's not overly aggressive.
Yeah, I'm not sure if maybe he didn't let up. I know Clapper kind of had some momentum going, but I mean, he had to sling his truck up high to keep from hitting Mark.
Well, either way, Truxell drops back to 19.
This group's still about 6 seconds behind the leader.
It's an interesting group of drivers here, too. You look at these guys, and I know they're from 11th on back here, but any one of them, I don't think anybody would be the least bit surprised to see him take a checkered flag here at Talladega tonight. It could certainly happen. Will Hewitt's been fast. Alan DeFries has shown promise. He's been fast. Chris Goins, of course, he's been getting faster and faster as of late. Joe Tucker, always a threat to win some of these races. Here he runs 4th in that line. Back out front, it's still Neil Quick and Zach Millett trading that spot by a foot back and forth.
I always hated being in this third position right here on the bottom. I guess that's no rainwater.
That's
I
05.
always the 05.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I always hated being in that position here because I felt like I was boxed in. You know, you really can't go anywhere. If you're Medford, if you all get a little bit of lead, you can go up high and try to get pushed by the leader. But the 05, you know, that was my least favorite position.
And if you think about it too, that third position on the bottom, you can build some pretty hellacious runs just because the vacuum that the draft has created, not just from the two trucks in front of you, but even the outside lane, if they get in side by side, is massive. You have throttle response in that situation, but you've got nowhere to go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Unless you try to make something on the low side and force a 3-wide situation, and most of the time we've seen that end up in a wreck going into the turns.
But even with that, I mean, you got to pay attention to the yellow line. You can't go below the yellow line to advance your position, mainly because if you do, a lot of times guys will try and block that off, and that's, like you just said, how the wreck starts. Then you got a big melee at the front of the field in front of everybody else that's coming in hot and heavy.
Absolutely, 100%.
You almost got to build the run, and again, this goes to don't push the pusher, because sometimes you don't really know exactly how close the truck in front of you is to the truck in front of them. But you can almost root a guy out of the way, build the run that you think you're going to have, and make some contact with that lead driver. The problem is, if he's got his nose touching the back bumper of the truck in front, well, you just triggered another wreck.
You're 100% correct. There are just so many variables that go into the restrictor plate racing here.
23 laps about to go up on the board as we close into the end of the stage.
I thought Brian Rose was going to try to take it 3-wide. I guess he thought better of it.
Well, I mean, you look at Brian Rose. He's running in P6, P5, depending on how the lanes are working. He's in a decent position for some stage points. Yes, he might want to try and pull out and go to the front and gain some more ground and pick up some more points, but you also run the risk if he pulls out to make that pass, nobody goes with him. He drops to the tail of this little group. Now he's looking at 10th place points, so it's how much do you want to gamble?
Yeah, and I mean, right now, if you're Brian Rose, the two people who's in front of you in the points are getting more stage points than you right now. So they're expanding that lead.
Now watch what Neil Quick is doing. I don't know if you caught it there in the middle of the corner. He was floating up the racetrack just a little bit, dumping some fresh air on the nose of the 83. Again, it's an IROC teammate, essentially. But it was also somewhat blocking the run of Zach Millett on the high side. So he's kind of controlling both lanes here. He's doing it right now again. Now, also what I noticed there, if he's not careful when he does that, he was close to doing it this time. He could almost side draft himself and dump all that air on the back spoiler of his own truck. He's getting close enough to Millett that could have been an issue.
The 83 of Medford's been doing a great job of pushing, too. I mean, when you're out front, the truck behind you means everything.
In that inside lane, you've got Neil Quick, Brandon Mefford with IROC. Then it's Noah Rainwater and then Doug Wysocki also out of IROC. Then you got Brian McCann on the top side behind Millett, another IROC driver. So there's plenty of IROC help in there as Millett goes to the outside in front of Brian Rose. Now these guys are linked up. Don't know if that's going to pay off, but he's making the move nonetheless. Got two HBR drivers and then the HBR associate in behind. If these three can try to work together on this final lap of the stage. Built a run. They've shuffled Brian McCann out. He's the meat in the sandwich, though sometimes that's an okay place to be depending on how you catch it. Sometimes you can build a run. Oh, Elfie Sharon in the fence. Oh, Neil Quick across the nose of Brian Rose. Caution is out. Coming to the stripe, yellow on the racetrack due to an incident with Brian Rose, and I think it was Neil Quick getting turned into him. This is the stage caution regardless, so Millett's going to win the stage. Brandon Mefford, not sure if Neil Quick is going to finish in that spot or not, but let's see if we can get a look at it. Didn't even trigger a major issue here, but let's see if we can get a replay on it. Oh, Brian McCann. Off the nose of the 3. I don't know if he moved down or quick came up. We talked about it before the stage ended, how Neil was trying to block both lanes, but McCann was there, had a nose alongside. Now, the good news is the caution came out, and there's fast repairs available for these drivers, so they'll be able to get that damage fixed and get back in the hunt.
Honestly, we're lucky that wasn't a lot worse than what it was.
Yeah, that could have been the big one right there. Luckily, it was not. Interestingly, it's put Neil Quick back in P2 here.
And, when we talk about strategy, that right there, that little incident is going to change these guys' strategy going forward, especially if they have to use a quick repair. They're probably not going to be as aggressive, so everything comes down to strategy here. Zach Millett with a big lead going into the pits. He should have no problem getting back out first.
Yeah, I still don't get why the 2 was credited back into that second position. He was involved in the incident that brought the yellow out. Yes, the field gets frozen, but if you're one of the drivers involved, it's no different than the lucky dog. You wouldn't get the lucky dog.
I'm not necessarily sure that was a iRacing caution.
Well, iRacing or otherwise, even if it's an admin caution, shouldn't make a difference.
Looks like Neil's not electing to use the fast repair.
Curious how long it's going to sit him down there. There's quite a bit of damage on that truck. Meanwhile, Zach Millett exits the pits as the race leader. So let's see if we can get a word. The winner of the stage, we can find him here in the chat. Zach Millett and Stephen Eric in the broadcast booth. Are you with us?
Hey, Steve, got a copy.
Congratulations winning stage number 1. I think it's the only lap of the race you've led thus far, but it's been side-by-side most of the time. A little chaos there coming to the stripe. You're able to avoid it, man. Tell us about the stage and how you feel about the rest of this race.
Man, it's pretty crazy. Everybody's holding their line pretty nice, though. It was good racing. We knew it was going to get crazy on the last lap, but it's just Talladega for you, man. We're going to try to survive, and if we can do that, then I'll be pretty happy about it.
Certainly all you can do. It's Talladega. It's not your favorite place, I know, but maybe luck will be on your side here today. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks, man.
Zach Millett, your Stage 1 winner. Again, only 2 stages in the No Bull Racing Series. We're going to jump out here, get a break out of the way, though. We'll be back after this. Stay with us.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Talladega Super Speedway getting ready to go back to the green flag here to start stage number 2. Zach Millett, the winner of stage number 1, he'll lead the field down here to the green flag. Brian Rose to be his outside. Then Brandon Mefford, Doug Wysocki, Will Hewitt, Eric Beadle, Mark Truxell, Chris Mefford, Justin Clapper, and Matt Kopp, the top 10.
Green flag.
Green flag in the air. Millett and Rose jump out.
Both of them got a really good jump. I know Brian Rose is always big on bonus points, and I know he was trying to get a lap led there. I think he did.
Hung out all by his lonesome on the high side, though. 4 trucks to the bottom. Brian Rose with no help.
Got too good of a jump. Outran everybody.
So now we're back to green and up to full speed. I think no better opportunity than to go HBR TV side by side, not side by side. The HBR TV, crank it up. Best part of the show. Millett's still out in front. Brian Rose trying to do something with him, but it seemed that Eric Beadle had an ill-timed push on corner entry, upset the balance of the number 89 truck. Was able to recover from it. Had to lift a bit to maintain forward progress.
Yeah, that dark guy for the most part's been pushing pretty good though.
Now Beadle's got the 63 of Justin Clapper out the back window.
Nothing against Justin Clapper, but I would be a little nervous having him behind me just from earlier.
Justin's usually pretty good, but again, you're going to look at the incident with the 33. I'd be nervous as well. Again, we still don't know exactly what happened there as Clapper now to the outside of Will Hewitt. Beadle lifts, you hear him off the throttle a bit there. Yeah, see, Beadle went up to block the run from the 63, and it killed the momentum of himself and Brian Rose.
I thought we was going to have 4 wide there for a minute.
Seemed like it was starting to turn into that. Top side, though, you've got Justin Clapper, Noah Rainwater, and in between those guys, it's the 38 of Roger Diebold. Brandon Mefford dropping out of line here, doesn't like what he's starting to see. Veteran move by some drivers, you'll see that happen. They've been up towards the front all day, and the action just starts picking up, and they're like, you know, it is too early for this. I'm going to drop out of line here and hopefully miss the chaos that's about to ensue.
That's me. If I'm out there right now, if I'm not in the lead, I'm backing off with the way these guys are running.
Speaking of the lead, Brian Rose, the track bar media machine, usually now HBRshops.com, puts it to the point here down into turn number 1. Lap led for Brian Rose. Teammate Zach Millett tucks in behind. Then it's Will Hewitt, Eric Beadle, and Alfie Sharon.
I thought Eric Beadle was going to lose a lot of space, but he's able to get down there and get in the 4th position.
Cut down in front of the 51 of Alfie Sharon. Again, these guys have been practicing with HBR quite a bit. Eric Beadle and Alfie Sharon. Sharon slated to be an HBR driver next season. Lap 35 goes on the board of 75. Brian Rose maintains the top spot. Up top side, though, it's Justin Clapper with some help from the 38 of Diebold trying to work his way around. Not enough numbers in that top lane. 2.5 trucks, and I say that just because Noah Rainwater isn't quite tucked up behind the 38.
They got a great run down that back stretch. Zach Millett absolutely pushing the crap out of Brian Rose. You think they've practiced that once or twice?
Yeah, once or twice a lap for the last year.
He has been all over him.
Brian can handle a pretty healthy push. Zach Millett can certainly handle giving it to him as square as possible.
Good to see Will Hewitt back here. He's 3rd on the inside lane there. Had some trouble earlier. Looks like he's got his damage taken care of, and right up here at the front.
Speaking of the front, though, Justin Clapper was almost clear enough to drop down in front of Brian Rose. That big run is building numbers topside. Zach Millett's trying to maintain this position all by himself, pushing Brian Rose out to the lead. Will Hewitt, as you mentioned, Eric, tucking in behind Zach Millett. Not quite tucked up. Don't want to push the pusher. Still maintaining a little bit of an assist on that low side.
Looks like the high side's definitely kind of formed up there. They still can't get the run to get their leader out in front.
Top 12 trucks looking pretty racy here. Not even past halfway, just past halfway.
Looks like Alfie may be trying up high.
Alfie switching lanes, bailing out of the 119 of Eric Beadle. Tucks in behind Noah Rainwater. That's really going to help that outside lane move a bit more, but Sharon looking to the outside of Noah Rainwater here. I don't know if he's got any leg to stand on there. No help to speak of. But here comes Mark Truxell, a couple of truck lengths off the 51. He might come into this mix. Sharon abandons the idea, though. Drops back down in front of Eric Beadle.
Looks like Mark may have used a faster pair, or, you know, he's been involved in one incident, so I don't think Mark's going to be that aggressive towards the end. These guys doing a fantastic job with this side-by-side racing. If you've never done iRacing, you're here Talladega, especially up front or in a pack like this. I mean, it takes a lot of nerves, and I've came out of a race at Talladega, Daytona, where you're drafting like this, covered in sweat, and then it literally not hot at all in my house.
It's not even just the physical side of it too. It's the concentration. It's gripping the steering wheel. It's focusing on your line, trying to make sure you don't deviate from your line each lap. You don't want to bump into guys because there's drivers all over the racetrack surrounding you. You don't have a whole lot of room to wiggle.
Absolutely.
I believe, Eric, you won a race here. One of the few drivers to win a race at night.
I did. I think it was set wrong, wasn't it?
I was either set wrong or they had too many cautions. I think that was an IROC race, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was an IROC race. It was turning dark, and I think it was me, Brian McCann, and Neil Quick battling for it, and ended up on the backstretch. They got into each other, and I kind of coasted there. I got another win here. I know Aaron Smith is not in this league, but he pushed me by Brian McCann to win one in the IROC as well.
Yeah, Aaron Smith, still a driver over in the IROC series. Certainly not one to mess with. He's usually very fast everywhere we go, but like we've talked about, the super speedway is kind of an equalizer. You still got to have some skill, but given the draft and how beneficial that is, it's everybody packed up, and just about everybody has a shot to take a checkered flag.
Yeah, I've never talked to Aaron. I thanked him in my interview, and I mean, I led the race about the last 500 feet. That's the only lap I led the whole race, and it was thanks to Aaron.
It's the only lap that matters.
Absolutely.
Still watching this battle for the race lead between Brian Rose and Justin Clapper. Zach Millett's got to be getting hot. Tucked in behind the 89 of Brian Rose.
I wish we could see his temperature gauge, but I don't guess we can we?
Now, typically, it doesn't indicate it. It won't even show it properly. The only thing you can see, I think it's accurate, is the tach.
Okay.
Voltage is right. I think you got water temp on the far left. That's looks like about 220, 230.
So, a quick story.
Meanwhile, we
Really
got a
quick.
new leader here. Justin Clapper goes to the point.
Quick story about the temperature. When we first started running, me and Brian Rose, he was pushing me to a win, and 2 laps to go blew up.
Yeah, it can definitely happen. These trucks will overheat if you stay tucked in pushing for too long. But let's take a look at the pass for the race lead here. Justin Clapper. Looks like this was out of turn number 2. Big run out of the corner, down the backstretch. Not a whole lot of help, but really nobody tucked in behind Zach Millett either. Truck length between the 315 and Will Hewitt. So that allows the outside lane to carry that momentum. Clapper just dives it to the bottom. That's that move we talked about, the Pez dispenser move. So meanwhile, top 3 now. Roger Diebold, Noah Rainwater, and Justin Clapper.
It's kind of single file right now. I think it won't last long, though.
Eric Beadle in front of Mark Thomas on the high side. He slipped back to the 11th position.
Ooh, Mark Trucks on Eric Beadle. That's as close as it can get, I think.
It almost looked like Truxell didn't know that Sharon was there. Beadle gets tucked down in front of the 5. Beetle almost makes contact with Brian Torsha there. Comes down and almost doors the 81. I think Beetle's got his hands full right about now.
Yeah, and I think Mark is kind of deciding, hey, do I want to try to get by this guy? Do I want to push him? Do I want to just kind of ride? I see a lot of inconsistency in what Mark's doing right now.
A little bit indecisive, but again, Beetle, he's been around a little while here in this particular league, but Truxell may not know him all that well, may not know his tendencies. So it can make a driver nervous not knowing that. Obviously, you run a league with a guy every single week. You get used to who's around you, and you can make the decisions based upon that. But he's not real sure about what to do with the 119. And honestly, Eric Beetle looks a little bit indecisive himself. He's on the bottom. He's up in the middle. He's going up and down. He's got to stick to a lane here. He's not staying tucked into the draft. He doesn't have anybody help to make this pass on the 22 here. Might have a little bit of draft out in front that he can suck off of, but it's not going to last. Now, Alpha Charon does pull up in the middle line. He's built to run. He's making it work.
Yeah, it looks like he was maybe picking up a little bit of side draft there.
Could have been a little bit of side draft, and maybe some 2x2 out in front was opening up the air a little bit. Beetle has tucked back in behind Zach Millett. He's very comfortable working with the 315, so that might be what his goal was, to get caught back up, kind of mimic what these two in front of him are doing, Zach Millett, Brian Rose. Meanwhile, the top three, Roger Diebold, Noah Rainwater, Justin Clapper, as we approach lap 48. With that said, though, we're going to jump out and take our first. Can you believe it? We're already past halfway, our first HBR TV side-by-side break. We'll be right back after this. Stay with us. You won't miss a minute of the action.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Talladega Super Speedway, 25 laps to go. You saw in break a couple of drivers opting to hit pit lane already as the fuel window is open for everybody. Notably, it looks like most of the drivers that came down, all IROC drivers, Brandon Mefford, Brian McCann, Doug Wysocki, Neil Quick, and Matt Kopp. They've made their bed, and they're going to have to sleep in it as they are all grouped up here. Chris Mefford also came down in this group, but spun on pit entry, so he's lost the draft. Meanwhile, we do have some takers on pit lane just now. A lot of the right turn racing drivers coming down to hit pit lane, as well as some others. Chris Goins, Jesse Redding, Chris Elliott, Drew Prowl, Joe Tucker. Well, it's kind of what we saw last Sunday at Talladega.
The 13th took right sides.
Interesting concept. Everybody else in that group took fuel only, so he's going to be about 3 seconds off that pace. He's going to have his work to do to get caught back up. Leaders out of turn 4.
I was going to say, it don't look like far now, but they're already traveling at a higher speed than him, so that's only going to increase.
So we've seen the manufacturers all pit together last week at Talladega. Tonight we're kind of seeing the team alliance get together here. We'll see how the pit stops play out for Brian Rose, Zach Millett, Alfie Charon. Carson Conway was out of this one early here at lap 6 under that first caution. Didn't bother to use the fast repair. He's going to be credited with dead last here today. Now I'm kind of curious here. Again, all these Thunderclap drivers at the front of the field here, Diebold, Noah Rainwater, and Justin Clapper. If we continue to see all these drivers pit the same way, do you expect them to come by themselves? A trio of trucks, yes, you can come out and have drafting partners, but just say one of them has an issue or gets a penalty on pit lane. Well, now it's just 2 trucks. You're not going to have the same kind of lap time as you would in a group. Also, if you're guys like Brian Rose or Zach Millett, Alfie Charon, even Eric Beadle in that whole mix there, you got 4 trucks that can kind of pit together. Do you wait until the Thunderclap guys come down pit lane, do their stop, and then come the next lap so that you're not part of that group? Kind of hang them out to dry?
There's so many different things you can do. As Brian Rose is hitting pit road.
Yep, there they come. Brian Rose, Zach Millett, Alfie Charon, Eric Beadle. Oh, Sharon locking it up hard. Gets into Millett a bit on entry. Hopefully there's no speeding issues or unsafe entry penalties. So it's Brian Rose, Millett, Charon, Beadle, Will Hewitt, Brian Torsha, Mark Thomas. Smart move for Mark Thomas and Brian Torsha. Is there a 2-man team here coming down with some other trucks so they can try and work together in the draft as this pit stop completes?
Yeah, me personally, I would like pitting in a bigger group just in case, like you said, somebody has problems on pit road and you lose 1 or 2 trucks.
Brian Rose beat Zach Millett out of the pits. And it's Eric.
You look at this, Zach Millett and Brian Rose, I mean, they all came in relatively close, and Brian Rose, Zach Millett has absolutely dominated coming out of pits.
Here come the Thunderclap drivers, locking them up, and oh, Rainwater is almost going to spin around. Locks up the rear tires, keeps it going straight. Truxell comes down with them all.
'63 and 05 having a little issue there. He was on the 05 was on the inside of the '63 and blocked him.
Rainwater had to back up just a bit to get into the box. He missed the entry just a bit. Doesn't seem like much, but it's going to cost him some time. These guys are taking some long stops. 13:02 for Rainwater, Diebold at 12:07. Truxell looks like he put 4 on, 15.23 seconds. 20 laps to go as the leaders exit pit lane here. Now it's going to switch things up. Brandon Mefford in the race lead. It's like the cycle for the IROC drivers has gotten them out into the front of the field here. It's Mefford, Brian McCann, and Doug Wysocki, your top 3.
The good thing for Brian Rose and Zach Millett is they're right there. So when it cycled all around, this they were right with the IROC guys.
Problem is, for Brian Rose and Zach Millett, who is going to work with those two?
You have what? 1, 2, 3, 4.
All of them.
All of them IROC guys.
Zach Millett and Brian Rose definitely have their work cut out for them here.
And they're kind of taking different lines here. I don't know if maybe they're strategizing to where, you know, they have to help them or what, but one's inside, one's outside.
Might just be a matter of keeping the lines equal for now.
Could be. Right now they got a 5-second lead over the group that Will Hewitt is leading.
Will Hewitt
These
running
guys
in the
got-
8th spot.
Yeah, these guys got a single file up. I think one of the biggest things we see at the super speedways is when you have a second group like this, everybody wants to be the leader. They want to be the one out front, and sometimes you just got to be patient and push and get one line going.
We talked about that early on too. It's like these guys are all racers, and they want to be the first one in that group. Problem is, in many instances, you got to think about that too. Granted, we're not in a situation where fuel's likely to become a problem, but that lead truck is cutting the air for all of these drivers, and he's going to use the most amount of fuel compared to everybody else. So he's going to run out first.
They are making up a little bit of time if they don't wreck each other.
Well, yeah, I just saw Roger Diebold almost come around across the nose of the 63 at Clapper. Clapper dumps out of line here. Lets Diebold save it, but it's going to cost him some track position as Jesse Redding and Chris Goins tuck in behind the 38.
That miscue cost them about 1/10 of a second.
Now on the high side, you've got the RTR drivers. You got Jesse Redding, Chris Goins, and you've got the 80. Drew Prell tucked in behind.
I mean, they're running them down, so they may have time to do it battling 3 wide like this.
Out front, it's still Brandon Mefford over Brian McCann, Doug Wysocki, Neil Quick. Brian Rose, Zach Millett, Will Hewitt. Will Hewitt's further back in that other pack. 46, Chris Mefford has caught this group. Mefford, though, not on the lead lap. So maybe they caught him and he's just going to tuck in here. But that's actually more of a problem for these guys because Chris Mefford, being another IROC driver, that's another team truck that Brian Rose and Zach Millett are going to need to deal with.
You took the words right out of my mouth. That's another alliance for IROC.
Unless Eddie wants to take a hard left right now.
We're not encouraging that, Eddie. Maybe Eddie can be an alliance for the HBR guys. I don't know if he has any damage.
I don't think he had enough pace to keep up here, and maybe he'll suck back up to this group, but they went by him in a hurry in the draft, and he was all by his lonesome. You know, the IROC guys were likely trying to get Chris Mefford into this group. Looking at the nose on the 46, he's got some damage, so he's not going to be good out in front, which again, being a lap down, it doesn't seem to matter. He can still be a decent pusher in that group.
And all that stemmed from, you know, him spinning out, going down pit road. He was right there with this group that pitted and, you know, unfortunately done a little spin.
continue to watch this lead pack, I can't imagine we're going to see a whole lot of change in position at the front of this field here up until maybe 2 laps to go. You'll see guys start to battle, but looks like Eddie Rhodes is actually coming back into the fray here. He has caught the tail end of this draft.
That's still a big disadvantage when it comes to count versus IROC and HBR.
It is, but there's not a whole lot you can do with just 2 trucks. You might be able to get something done with 3. We just have to be super organized. The problem is with Chris Mefford where he's at. He's not tucked up behind the 22 of Kopp all that much. And you know, if Millett tries to push him, he's not going to go around. He's got that nose damage. He's in a better position to sit there and ride. Millett's going to peek to the outside, but I think it's just out of utter frustration.
I think Millett may just be moving around, seeing, you know, what he can do, and he may be trying to force Medford out of the picture.
Well, if you can get in the mirror some of these guys and maybe get somebody looking and say, oh, 315's coming high side, maybe I can move a block here. That's going to change the air quite a bit in that group. Might move some lanes back, some forward, who knows.
One thing I can tell you, I bet the 315 and the 89 are in constant contact on the radio, developing a plan. They're not going to go down without a fight. Will Hewitt and his group are now, 3.8 seconds behind, so they are closing in. Here they come.
12 laps to go. There's still time to catch them. Especially these, that's the thing too, we said that just a minute ago, is you won't see a whole lot of battling for position in this lead group. And for obvious reasons. You've got a ton of IROC guys up here, and they probably have one common goal, maybe 2. We'll see. We got somebody spinning. Yellow is out. Jesse Redding in trouble. Well, that changes everything.
I didn't get that. Could you...
Damn watch is talking to me again. So Jesse Redding in trouble here. Let's see what happened here with the 21. Might have to do the whole rewind that I hate. It's already in the mix here, and it looks like this is teammate on teammate violence here. Watch the 21 truck, the black and green machine. That's Jesse Redding. He might have checked up seeing the Prestige Worldwide machine get down to the apron. Slides up the racetrack. Looks like Chris Goins just barely gets into his left rear, but it's going to send Redding down in front of the 28. Does Prell get on by? Nope, just a tiny bit of net code there. He's going to get a piece. Eric Beadle's going to get a touch. Well, there you have it. Third caution of the day, and it comes here late with 12 laps to go. It's going to change a lot for these drivers. Already some trying to save some fuel. We're in a good position here for now as far as fuel was concerned. Many of these drivers, even the ones that pit early, the IROC drivers specific, they did it with about 25 laps remaining. The fuel window in the draft is about 30 laps, so they should be good to go. Obviously here with the caution coming out, they're not burning anywhere near as much. But the question will remain, though we've had a pretty clean race, do we have any green-white checkers we got to worry about?
100%.
It could happen.
100% means for sure. Definitely.
So with the caution coming out, drivers involved are going to come down pit lane here. Chris Goins is one of them. They'll likely use the fast repairs if they still have it. Damage doesn't look to be too severe on any one of these trucks. Jesse Redding likely would have had the worst of it, and he's used the fast repair, so he's clean green to go. He's going to get some fresh rubber on that truck as well, which, in a super speedway, there's probably some guys here that didn't take tires at all and won't the entire race. I know we did watch a next-gen race recently where that was the case. They didn't pit at all, for tires at least, and they got it done just fine. But what it does allow the drivers to do with fresh tires here and late in the race versus the guys that don't is they can be very aggressive with their lane changes and their moves on the racetrack. You've got a little bit more grip. to do that versus the guys with hot, worn tires. You might not be able to get it done without upsetting that truck, getting it sideways. This might not be a terrible situation for these guys. They were near the back of the pack anyway. I don't know. Could change a lot of things. We'll see. Tristan Sykes in the stream chat says, I hope Jesse fights Gomes. Pulling old Ross Chastain on him, huh?
I think you're going to see 3 wide right from the start of this.
It could be, which, I don't know. I don't think that's a great idea unless they're up to full song, but... Yeah, McCann's all the way down on the flat. Does he think he's going to run out of fuel?
I mean, if I'm in this race, I'm thinking 2 green, white checkers at least. And I'm wanting to know I got fuel for that.
Yeah, but you don't, I don't know. You usually don't see guys dump down to the apron of the racetrack until they're sipping fuel and they don't want to run out. We got 10 laps to go. If he's worried about running out right now, because the pickup's in the right rear of the fuel tank in these trucks, so that's why they want to come down on the flat to kind of even out the slosh, so to speak, within the tank. When they're on the track and they're at speed, the centrifugal force is pushing all that fuel to the right rear corner of the tank anyway, so you don't have to worry about it. But usually, like I said, you don't see guys come down on the flat until they're really low on fuel.
Well, the IROC guys were the first group to pit, I believe.
Yeah, but it was lap 48, 49. I mean, even in the worst fuel economy, at 29 laps, they still have enough to make it to the finish.
I'd say he's planning for a couple green, white checkers.
Time will tell. Pace car lights are off, though. We're going to go back to the green flag here next time by. It'll be 8 laps to go. A shootout. Fingers crossed to the finish.
IROC leading the first 2 rows here.
Brandon Mefford out in front of it. Number 83 with Zoe's Place Child Advocacy Center on board. Good to see the 83 having a good day.
Yeah, I mean, the guys that need to move the quickest here is the 5 of Truxell and the 28 of Gorns. I mean, they're championship contenders, losing a lot of points right now.
Shadows getting longer here at Talladega Super Speedway. We talked about Eric's win in the dark. There are no lights here at Talladega Super Speedway. Don't worry, we'll get this one done before it gets too dark.
How many people can say they won in the dark at Talladega?
Not many. I will say this, though. Lights at Talladega would be pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty expensive, but pretty cool.
Maybe we can tweet that to NASCAR.
Yeah. All right, pace car ducking down below the yellow line here. Is going to hit pit lane here in just a moment. Barney the flagman with the green in hand. Trucks still need to get through the tri-oval. Again, the start-finish line is past the tri-oval. Much different than what we see at Daytona.
We'll see who takes it 3 wide first.
Green flag, green flag.
Oh, Mefford waits to the last minute to fire. That's on him to do it, but it looks like McCann's going to beat him to the line. Outside line in a hurry. Wysocki going to come back to hit a little bit of a push to the 3. Does Brian have enough room to come down? He does not. Mefford's going to maintain the top spot. Big push from Neil Quick, but a big gap between the 2 and the 22 of Kopp.
Yeah, I think Brian McCann may have been able to get out front if Wysocki could have gave him a better push in 1 and 2.
But he formed up down the back straightaway. 8 laps to go. McCann with a nose out in front, down the back stretch, getting the push, and we got trouble behind. Caution on the Speedway.
Guys, just quickly, just remember.
We're a little early on the gun there, trying to get things squared away. I don't think we really had anybody turn around. Well, either way, we're going to stack them up and try it again. Don't really even know who to look at because nothing really got triggered in iRacing to indicate a crash.
Yeah, those guys probably got lucky on that one.
Well, let's back it up here. We just found it here. Alan DeFries off the nose of Mark Thomas. 71 Monster Energy machine up top. The 50 of Mark Thomas in behind the red and white. Just gets to that back bumper. Back it up further.
That's one of those situations where DeFries just came up and Mark wasn't lifting.
And it's late in the race. I can't say that I blame Mark for not lifting, but it's okay pushing the guy if he gets squared up on him, but you know the moment you hit that guy on that corner of that truck, he's going to go around. Oh, but there you have it, our fourth caution of the night. Certainly makes things more interesting, but at the moment of caution, look who was in the race lead. It's the 3 of Brian McCann, the points leader coming into this round tonight, round 2, race 1 here at Talladega. 2 weeks from now, we go to Martinsville Speedway. That's right, I did say 2 weeks. If you guys are watching now, you will miss us next week if you try to watch the race, because there won't be one. We're taking a week off for Mother's Day, and then we will be back in 2 weeks for Martinsville for the penultimate race of this season.
You know, this caution really put Brian and Zach at a disadvantage. They got separated a little bit more as Brian's in 5th and Millet's in 8th.
I don't think there's any getting around these IROC guys the way that they're lined up, the way that they are. I mean, it's Brian McCann, Brandon Mefford, Doug Wysocki, Neil Quick, top 4 trucks for sure, and even in the 5th position, and well, not the 5th position, but that 3rd row, you got Matt Kopp, the 22.
I think you're going to have to get a good, steady group of guys formed on the 3rd lane.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with that. But with this caution here, we're going to take another opportunity to get a break out of the way. We're going to take it quick. We'll be back for the restart after this. Stay with us.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
By 2/100ths of a second over Brandon. That S4 guy off turn 4 for the final time sees the checkered flag. It waves. It belongs to the 315. Checkered flag. Contact and Brian Rose wins it. A photo finish at the line. Oh, we got a wreck. Will Hewitt's through the trial for the final time, and oh, they're wrecking. Big trouble. Vincent Short sneaks through, and I think Short. Back at Talladega Super Speedway, 5 laps remain here. Coming to 4 to go and a restart to settle it. It's our 4th caution of the day. Top 4 drivers, Brian McCann, Brandon Mefford, Doug Wysocki, Neil Quick, all from the IROC series. You've got Brian Rose to the inside, then Matt Kopp, another IROC driver, to his outside. Tall order for Brian Rose here. Does have Zach Millett behind him, but in the opposite lane. Anything can happen. Pace car pulls off. You got to wonder, these guys work together well throughout this race, but is that going to change with 1 lap to go?
I think so, but not too aggressively so.
We wait on Barney, the flagman, to wave the green once again. Field coming through the tri-oval. You see how far down the straightaway after the tri-oval that start-finish line really is. Right now is where they would take the green at Daytona. They got to wait all the way here to cross the stripe.
We're back underway with Brian McCann out to a big lead here. Not necessarily a good thing. I think he done the smart thing there and went up to the high side that was closer to him to kind of push back any type of big run.
Well, like you talked about with Brian Rose and Zach Millett being in constant communication, you'd be willing to bet that all these IROC drivers are also doing the same.
Brian Rose, Zach Millett, 3rd lane up, coming.
Making a run to the outside. Brian Rose, top side. Zach Millett pushing in behind him. Another HBR associate, Alfie Charon, almost contact with Brian Rose and Brian McCann. Out of turn number 4, coming to 3 laps to go. Battle for the lead. It's Wysocki, McCann, and Rose.
Wow, I don't know how they didn't wreck right there. Great job by these guys. They're still 3 wide coming to the flag.
Yeah, it ain't over yet. We still got 3 laps to wad up all these trucks.
These guys are doing a fantastic job. I hope they keep it up and it's a finish like this.
3 wide for the front 3 rows. Top 9 in formation out of turn 4, and then it builds more behind. Now it's the top. Oh, and Brian Rose gets turned off the nose of Zach Millett. Trouble of it. Turn 2. All of the leaders wrecked. We got the big one here at Talladega. Some drivers make it through, some don't, but Will Hewitt's going to jump to the point.
Man.
What did I say at start finish? We weren't done wrecking.
That took every top 7, 8 maybe was in that, I think.
Looks like Hewitt gets through it without a scratch. So this is going to send us to our overtime. And we do have up to 3 to take if we so choose. So let's dial up the replay here, see exactly what happened. We'll back it up a little further. Just a little ill-timed push, it looks like, got crossed up with Millett and Rose. This is out of turn number 2. Brian Rose up top in the 89 HBR. Millett in behind, pushing for all he's got, and just gets, yeah, see, he goes to the right there, and that's what turns the 89.
Yeah, he rode his bumper up and then tried to come back down and square up on him.
Chaos. Absolute chaos.
Did Neil look like Neil Quick may have got through? Oh, till the end.
But you know what, though? I mean, there's a little bit of damage to the truck, but how far does he slide?
That's not bad compared to these other guys at all. I would take that over probably everybody else that got involved in that.
Yeah, Neil's certainly not out of this one yet by any means. Will Hewitt, though, your race leader, some damage on that truck. We thought he got through it scot-free, but a little bit of right front.
You know, and this creates another challenge. At these super speedways, late in races like this, guys have damage. They say, hey, I'm going to ride with it. And when you do go for this green-white checker, those guys are not going to perform the way that your truck is, and they actually just kind of hold you up if you're behind them and you don't have any damage.
The other thing is, too, they kind of free fall through the field, and they just become a rolling chicane for the drivers trying to get back up through. I don't know if that's going to be the case with the top two. There is a little bit of damage, as we said, with Will Hewitt's truck, but I don't think it's going to hurt him too terribly bad. It might cost him out in front with nothing to break that plane of air in front of him. We'll have to see.
Looks like the 119 Eric Beadle may not have a scratch on it.
Well, Eric's taking care of the truck tonight. He's been real good about it. Again, cautious. But if you take care of the truck and you're around for the finish of one of these things, many times you have an opportunity to have a solid finish, maybe even a win.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the trucks right now, I mean, he has to be the favorite going into this last restart. Not necessarily saying he's going to win, but just by look.
Look at Mark Truxell in fourth.
Consistent Mark. Can't tell if he has any damage. I don't think.
Thing looks clean as a whistle, except for all the dirty rubber and debris on that thing.
Yeah, so, I mean, you know, Mark, knowing if he knows Beadle doesn't have any damage, he's going to try his best to push him as hard as he can to get them two out front.
Looks like Brian Rose's day is done. May have used the fast repair early on or didn't turn it on, one or the other. He sits in the pit lane here still. Brian McCann tore up as well. Going to be a big, tough points break for him tonight as he comes in as the points leader. Big shakeup in the points getting ready to happen when this one's over.
Yeah, that's highly unfortunate for them. You know, first and third place. Millet second in points. It looks like he's running in the 13th position. Not sure how his truck is for this green-white checker.
Well, with that, pace car lights are out. Neil Quick is up in the mix here. Kind of curious as to what is going on here. Hewitt's the race leader. Why is Beadle backing out? Really don't understand what's happening right here.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Beadle slips back to P5 for reasons unknown. I don't know why he would drop back intentionally. All that does is he's here racing too. If you're not here to win the race, what are you doing here? I don't know if it was a penalty. I don't know. We'll see. While we work the back straight here, I want to give a big shout out to Whiplash Sim Cams. Whiplash has been a provider of all of our custom cams here. Well, 99% of them here at HBR TV, and especially all season long here. Exclusive camera provider for the No Bull Racing Series. Certainly do appreciate Andrew and the boys putting together these great views at all these racetracks that we have visited this season.
Absolutely. They've done fantastic. Look at the view right here of the 46, you know. Medford went down a lap earlier, fought and hung on with that lead group, and here he is, you know, 5th place in contention to maybe win this thing.
Yeah, he got the lucky dog on one of those cautions. I don't know if it was this one or the last. I think it was the last, but yeah, he's definitely regained some composure, and he's got a shot at this thing.
Yeah, I mean, so many guys get down if they go down a lap or things ain't going their way, but, you know, hats off to Medford. He's fought back, and he has a chance here.
I mean, you look at Carson Conway. He was out on that lap 6 caution, wrecked the car, had a fast repair, didn't use it. He could have been in this thing. The cautions that we've had, he would have been back on the lead lap and contending for a solid position.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
Nonetheless, though, Will Hewitt's going to lead him back to the green flag here. Green, white,
Green
checkered
flag.
finish. Here we go. First attempt.
Will Hewitt with a little bit of a jump. Neil Quick coming up beside him. Truxell needs to get back to the 33's bumper here.
Top 4 in formation. Chris Goins trying to decide where to go. We got another caution on the Speedway. Eddie Rose and Doug Wysocki involved. That one seemed to come out awful quick as well.
Will this be our last attempt?
No, this was our first. We got second. We have up to 3.
Okay. I thought this was the second. My bad.
So let's see what happens here at the start. Hard to see it. Let's zoom it in here.
Not sure if Eddie may have got tapped or just went down the track. He just came down on Doug Wysocki.
Yeah, he came down a little bit. Doug came up as well. I was looking at the line on the racetrack. They kind of met in the middle. Bit of a racing deal, it seems. Well, there you have it. Let's see if we can pull Will Hewitt into the booth here while they're getting this thing squared away here. I know he's probably not expecting this, but let's see how he feels about it. Will Hewitt at Stephen Eric Dotson in the HBR TV booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Will, man, you're out here leading this thing. Another green-white checker getting ready to unfold. Are you prepared? What's your plan to win this thing?
I am planning to hold the bottom if I can. I've won here before doing that, and hopefully not run out of gas here. And I wish they would stop wrecking.
Well, you pitted at lap 54. We've had some cautions. You should be okay to go, but I can't imagine we're going to see you come down pit lane at all.
No, I'm going to run it right out.
All right.
I got nothing to lose.
Well, thanks for letting us interrupt your caution lap of the race here. We'll put you back in the room you were in, and good luck the rest of the way, man.
Thanks, guys.
It's Will Hewitt, leader of the race, the number 33 Chevy Silverado. He's right, though. He's won here before. It's no stranger to victory lane at Talladega. Again, Will, one of the SCAR veterans that has continued to race over here in the Noble Racing Series. Neil Quick ran some SCAR races as well. He came in at the tail end of that group. Ran very well over there. Both the Meffords ran in SCAR. Of course, Mark Truxell. Eric Beadle, I think, even had a race or two. Chris Goins, I think, ran some SCAR as well. A lot of guys that ran over in the Superior Class Auto Racing have come over here and continued to run, which is always a good thing to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Will's won before, knows what it takes, and he knows he's got a good chance here. A little bit concerned with fuel, but we think he's got enough. He's Kyle Busching it no matter what, though.
And I started to come to a realization as to why they're running the bottom of the racetrack. It's not necessarily because the truck is out of fuel, though it would certainly help if that were the case. But it is the shortest way around, and the least amount of ground you can cover means less fuel you're going to burn up. So there is the explanation as to why they're on the bottom of the racetrack.
I would say he's probably killing it and firing back, too.
We can find out easy enough. Yep.
Yep.
There's the clutch.
We heard from the man himself, though. He's going to run her till she goes dry.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't happen coming to green.
Yeah, really. Who done that? Ty Gibbs?
Oh, I don't know. Somebody. I'm sure it's happened before.
Yeah, I think Ty Gibbs done it to Talladega this year. You know, there could be a big shakeup in these points, as we talked about Brian Rose, Brian McCann, you know, Zach Militz, 11th right now, and then the rest of our championship contenders, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So, could be a big shakeup.
Interestingly enough, Brian McCann listed 23rd, though he is still on the lead lap.
I seen him go around the leaders for the Lucky Dog Pass, so he must have got out of the pits and was a lap down.
That's the thing, too, is if these guys wad this thing up again, and we have another big one, and if Brian McCann manages to stay out of it, he could still sacrifice a good day for points. Especially considering that Brian Rose is still in the pits. Millett's back up to 11th, so there's that. Millett, I think, was second in points, second or third now that I think about it. In fact, we'll look at it real quick here. Yeah, Millett running in second in the point standings. Then it's Brian Rose, Brandon Mefford, Neil Quick, Chris Cones, Chris Mefford, Mark Truxell. Going to be a lot of changes in those standings going into the next race at Martinsville in 2 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, Talladega, Daytona, they always have so unpredictable races, so anything can happen. And, I mean, I love this track.
Shadow's getting longer and longer. You got to wonder how the visibility is for these drivers into turns 3 and 4. Let's go in car with Will Hewitt and see if there's any glare to contend with. That could pose a problem.
We may have another night finish.
Oh, there it is. There's the glare. Right in the middle of 3 and 4, just before, just as you get into turn 4. Sun's right in the driver's eyes.
Yeah, that could definitely be a problem. I don't know if you've noticed, but Will's still killing the engine.
Oh, yeah. When I'm out here driving, I'm doing the same thing right up until the point where I have to get ready to restart.
Looks like Brian Rose has joined the tail end of the pack.
All right, here we go. Green-white checkered attempt number 2.
Green flag.
Good restart for Will Hewitt. Chris Mefford's going to come slam the back bumper of the 33 down into turn 1. Mark Truxell with a good run, though, on the outside. Nobody with him, though.
Everybody went down to that bottom side.
Oh, you heard Will say it. He was going to protect the bottom, stay there, but if nobody stays with him, that's going to be a problem. Chris Mefford's going to go to the point here. Neil Quick pushing him down the back straightaway. He can cut down to the inside if he wants. There's plenty of room to do it. Will Hewitt's dropped back into the 7th position. The end of this restart. Down into turn 3. Caution on the speedway once again. Big time trouble. I think Zach Millett's in this. Alan DeFries, Eddie Rose. Doug Wysocki again. Millett might have gotten through this, actually.
Yeah, it's showing Millett in 3rd place now.
Millett is up in P3.
So he went from 11th to 3rd through that, I think.
Well, let's get a look at this one. It's already in progress. It's gonna
Can't tell who that is.
It looks like Chris Elliott. Here. Gotta find him. Tough angles. All right, here we go. Chris Elliott, the number 29 truck on the outside. It's white. It's a white machine just ahead of the 71 of Alan DeFries. Jesse Redding, the 21, black and green in the middle. That's a teammate. Here, Beetle, you see him. He lifted off the throttle just for a brief moment. You saw a fire out of the pipe. See, Jesse might have come up.
From that angle, it looked like the 21 just came up and got him.
But here you go again here. We've got another incident here involving teammates. That's the other thing is you guys working together. You're going to be side by side, inches apart. One guy makes a mistake, it's going to take the whole team with you. Alan DeFries going for a wild ride. Chris Elliott for a wild ride. Doug Wysocki in this again. Chris Elliott screaming for Oprah Winfrey to help him. There you have it. More changes.
Yeah, at that point, you can't do much but lock them up and hope you don't get hit.
Brian Rowe is trying to get some more repairs made to that truck to make it at least airworthy.
We must have missed him coming out pit road because he is on the lead lap.
Alfie Charon says, let's watch for my in-car. Let's see what it looks like. This is onboard Alfie Charon during that wreck. Alfie did a good job getting on the brakes and slowing it down, where all these guys to the left and right of him, jokers, I say.
Look at that sun.
Let's watch it in real time.
Alfie done amazing there, but he also got lucky that he didn't get ran over from somebody who didn't lift when they seen trouble.
See, that's the thing, though. A lot of times you think about, if every one of the drivers on the track, in those instances, if they hammered on the brakes the way Alfie did, how much would that save these drivers as far as the damage that they get inflicted on themselves? Don't try to aim it. Don't try to guide the missile through the mess. Just slow down. That way, even if you do hit something, it's not going to be a race ender, like it could be in many cases. Alfie managed to slow that thing way down, protects the nose of his truck. Yes, he's got a little bit of right rear damage. But you saw how many guys went flying by, top side and low side, around the 51. And they ended up getting in the wreck. They were behind Alfie, and they got in the wreck.
Yeah, and I mean, they were one truck. I don't know who it was or what number it was, but, I mean, they were... You couldn't fit a pop bottle between them and Alfie.
Getting a request here for on board with a 13. Let's take a look. Talking about guys that don't lift. Tucker family, I don't know if I would have suggested that replay. That looked bad for your driver. I know it's late in the race and you're going to get all you can get, but there was still a green, white, checkered left to use, and the green or yellow flag freezes the field. You're not going to gain any positions.
Will Hewitt still out there. He said he would be cutting it close. He's still there.
Well, I mean, again, the caution flags come out. Yes, you still have to burn some fuel to get around the track, but I don't know. His pit stop came at lap 54. Neil Quick's was at 48. So if anybody's going to be nervous, it's Neil Quick. If Will Hewitt runs out before Neil, you better check for a big fuel line on the 2 truck. So pace car lights are out. We're going to try this one final time. This will be our last attempt at a green, white, checkered finish. If the caution comes out before we make it back to the line, the field, I think, is frozen, and the results will be as they are. I'm not telling the race officials what to do here, but I would swallow the whistle here for this last couple laps. So
our picks are second and third.
Well, my pick was Brian Rose. You already beat me.
Ah, I thought you went with Miller. My bad.
Andy Rose listed as the race leader for some reason. He is not. He is on the pit lane.
Brian Rose catches up right in the nick of time.
Rose credited with P15 right now, so even though that truck is tattered, he's in okay shape.
He's out there to try to get every point he can.
That's all you can do. Green flag in the air. Some guys looking to the outside, coming to the stripe here. Looks like Mark Truxell didn't get going quick enough. Noah Rainwater looking to his outside now, down into turn number 1. 2 laps to go.
At this point, you just got to go. I mean, the next caution ends this, so it's time to go.
Chris Mefford still out in front. Zach Millett tucks in behind, but no help for those two. 4 wide down the back straightaway in that second row. This is going to be a disaster. Can they get through turns 3 and 4? No, they cannot. Big time trouble. Caution is on the Speedway. I think Chris Mefford's going to win this thing. Rainwater goes by Mefford, but I don't think it's going to matter. It's just going to screw up the results for post-race. I think Chris Mefford's going to get credit for the victory here.
Rainwater's checked out. There he is.
Well, let's go back. This is at the very beginning of the incident here. Let's see. Yeah, Jesse Redding and Chris Elliott again. Yep, those two come together a second time.
The last 2 cautions were both them.
So Chris Mefford here, from every angle that I'm seeing, it looks like he is the race leader by far at the time of the caution flag. So it looks like Mefford is going to be your race winner. Ryan McCann says, wrong caution, Rainwater is the winner. Maybe it was the wrong caution because it was the same thing. Let's look again, though. Because the caution was out when Rainwater went by Chris Mefford, so I don't, even still. See, there's Noah right here going by. Mefford's in front.
What about right here? I mean, if they threw it right there, Noah's, well, he's also involved, or he has contact from it.
No, but he's not, he's ahead of the wreck. He gets turned.
So if they throw it right there, it's Noah for sure. So maybe that's what happened.
That's a better angle. There we go. Yeah, without a doubt. It's the 05 for sure. So it looks like our top 3 is going to be Rainwater, Mefford, and Prell. Try to get confirmation on that before we come back. So it might be an extended commercial break here. We're going to have to check with race officials to 100% be sure that our top 3 is who that they are. And we can get them in the broadcast booth and get a word with our top 3.
How about Brian Rose? Maybe an 8th place finish here after everything he went through.
Just again, it goes to show you, don't give up. So for sure, it looks like Noah Rainwater is our race winner. He's going to come down here and celebrate, I believe. We believe that Chris Mefford and Drew Prell are our top 2 and 3 drivers.
now we got 2 to a victory donuts.
Yeah, the guy that finished 4th. Well, with that, we're going to step aside, get a break out of the way. We'll be back with our top 3 after this. We'll be right back.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
just don't know where that baby of mine. Well, I just don't know. Have mercy, brother.
Back at Talladega Super Speedway for the Alabama 200, went a lot longer than that. 3 green-white checkers to settle it. Of course, the last lap we did have some chaos into turns 3 and 4. Noah Rainwater appears to have been out in front, and at least as far as the replay is concerned, that is the case. Race officials unable to give us a determination as to who the race winner is as of just yet. So unfortunately, I'm not going to have top 3 finishers in the booth for it. Maybe we'll try and get them 2 weeks from now, once we get it all squared away. But as soon as we do have information as to who won this race officially, we'll get it posted on the Facebook channel, facebook.com/@HBRTV1. Also, we may even try to get some posts out on the website itself, hbrtv1.com. So my apologies, folks. I can only go with what I have, and that's what I have so far. It looks like Noah Rainwater, but I guess they haven't totally figured out what the plan is for it. I know typically the field would be frozen at the moment of caution, but we'll see what the race officials do decide. Again, apologies for it. Be sure to tune in the next 2 weeks here, 2 weeks from tonight at Martinsville Speedway. And we go from the biggest track on the circuit to the smallest. It's going to be just as chaotic, I'm sure, so don't hesitate to show up for that one. It's going to wrap it up for us here. Eric, thanks for helping me out here in the booth tonight. Again, folks, sorry we couldn't get you the race interviews post-race, but sometimes it is what it is. Sometimes things get a little bit crazy, and the admins have to get things figured out, and hopefully they'll get that squared away here before too long, and we'll get everybody in the loop. So, Eric, again, thanks again for your help, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks, man.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you next week somewhere.